So I'll just start with a recap of the game. As you guys know, it was a 60-minute right down to the end. Battle on the road, back and forth. I think I was just excited to be a part of what I would call a total team victory. I know KO's mentioned that. Really contributions from everybody. Defensively, we just kept taking it one play at a time. Made some big plays to take back some momentum. Gave up some, but it was just great to be a part of a game where really everyone chipped in some form or fashion, and we came out of there with a win. So with that said, we're time to move forward, and we're obviously working on New Orleans now. And they're definitely a tough opponent. But excited to get back to US Bank and in front of our fans, and we're gonna have to have a great week of preparation against this group. So, but yeah, it was a heck of a game, and took a lot out of me for sure.
With that goal line stand that you guys had in the second quarter, what stood out to you about the performances or the situation?
Yeah, I mean. Tough position as far as kind of taking back momentum. I think that was a big swing in the game, and for us defensively, just our ability to respond in that situation, and keep us not necessarily swing the momentum, because they scored, obviously put 3 points on the board, but. That's a tough thing to do, but just individually, I think Daniil, made two monstrous plays there. I thought, in my opinion, this was the best game he's played. And I know there wasn't the sack production, but there were some things he did in this game that were, just eye popping, and really showed off his abilities in the run game, his strength, his tenacity, his impact on the game in some areas that aren't, the sack department that, I was, very, very impressed. I thought it was the best game he played, this season. But I think, obviously we started with, a move call that, so we stemmed and they jumped, which, we've been working on that. And, I call Harrison Phillips, he's our STEM coordinator, so he's in charge of that, and so he, he's part of the organization of that, and we executed that, well, to kind of back him up a little bit, and then, again, like we said, we had great play from Tonga on the screenplay, running that down, or else that's going to score. Again, like we talk about on a weekly basis, I don't know who's going to make the play, but everybody's handling their responsibility, doing what they. They're being coached to do, and then we just play with physicality and urgency. So Tonga made a great play, and then Daniil made two great plays on that drive. That sequence, the last one, just knocking the tight end back into the back and allowing the rest of the group to show up and make the play. And it's always good to see that many guys show up on tape on a running back or just a ball carrier. And I think, it was just a great effort.
That pre-snap movement, is that to get them to come off sides, or is that some reaction to the formation you're seeing?
Yes, it's to get them to try to jump. Oftentimes they don't. But, any type of line movement, potentially create some communication for the offensive line to, we're comboing to this guy, then they move, and then you got a combo to somebody else. So just try to create a little bit of deception, I would say. Again, not giving away anything that nobody else knows, but it happens across throughout the league, and I'm sure people will be preparing for it now, because we put it on tape. But maybe we'll stem, maybe we won't.
Just in general, how important has that interior defensive line group been, what you guys are trying to do with Harrison Phillips and Flores, and guys like Tonga, and even T.J. Smith and Lowry?
Yeah, I think they're. You want to play good defense, you got to be stout up front. And those guys have been that, specifically HP, Harrison Phillips, and Bullard. But really the entire group. They're playing with power. They're playing with, good technique, knockback. They're playing physical. I mean, we want to be a physical group up front. We want to, win that part of the game as far as being physical. And they're kind of leading the way from that standpoint. And then it's the whole group. It's Tonga, it's Jay Roy, it's TJ if he comes in. Dean, and his last couple games had been coming on. So I think it starts up front, and that entire group's doing a good job.
I know during the game, obviously you're focused on defense, but when Josh has to go in, a lot of the coaching staff is then shifting gears and making adjustments. Did any of that reach you? Were you kind of seeing or hearing what they were trying to do, and what was your sense of how they were able to get through all that? Including Kevin too.
Yeah, just you mean offensively?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have more, so much confidence in that group. Just being around our offensive staff on a daily basis, and their ability to make adjustments and put guys in the right positions. And we were already going into it with a new quarterback situation. So, we knew that Jaron was going to be out, but I have the utmost confidence in our coaching staff and their ability to get guys where they need to be. So I wasn't, surprised in how, Dobbs played. I mean, I remember I was walking out of here Friday and he's in the indoor with Grant going through plays, and I looked over and said, I'm going to go pick up my kids. You guys can do that. So, but I was not in awe, but it's you could see the work he was putting in to try to get himself ready. And that preparation obviously, came to fruition, for him. So I was happy for him and our entire team. But my message to our guys, which I know is the same message to KO, was, look, we don't have to play perfect, but we got to play good. We got to play damn good, and that's really the message. There's never been a perfect game played, so we just gotta, as best we can, take care of our responsibility, play fast, play aggressively. And I know KO's saying the exact same things on offense. So is Wes. Matt's saying that in the kicking game. We put all those things together. And, again, it wasn't a perfect game, but we just keep fighting and keep trying to just play good football, complimentary football. And, it worked out for us, last Sunday by the skin of our teeth. But, we'll continue to build on that.
Brian, how do you quantify someone like Harrison Phillips where it's not huge tackle totals or sack totals, and just the impact that he's had, especially as you guys have done well against the run in recent weeks?
Yeah, appreciate the question, Matt.
Nailed it.
Thank you. Matthew. We'll get there. Harry Phillips is a guy that I especially, and guys like that, I call them dirty word guys. They're not the flashy, sexy stat guys, but they're the guys who make it all go. And we've got a number of guys like that. I think Bullard's in that category as well, and Pat Jones, and I could list off a few other people, but those are the guys that come to mind first for me. It's hard to quantify, but their contributions to the team and their ability to help other guys make plays. You need them on every team. You need them on offense, defense, and special teams. I'm very happy we have them. I think over the course of a season, you grow closer to players. He's certainly one, for me that I end up spending a lot of time with, and the same with Bull, and the same with Hicks, and the same with Harrison and Abynum and Metellus. You grow closer to them. Quick story about Harrison. His wife is a F-45 coach, so I go to F-45 every morning. It's like a group training thing. So his wife's the coach. You know, say, hey, I'm Harrison Phillips' wife, and I'm like, oh, here we go. She tried to put me through it. She did put me through it. I won't say she tried, and I told her, no problem. I'll get this, I'll even this out on the back end when I go to work. So, but I think you get to know these guys, and you understand how important the team is to them, and HP is definitely that.
Brian, how has that group handled things in general with Pat Hill stepping in over the last few weeks, just kind of adjusting to the coaching change and a new voice in that room?
They're professionals. They're professionals. They've really, taken to, that change. You got to be flexible and adjustable in this business. I know I've been in that room, quite a bit over the last few weeks, and it's been good, for me. I haven't been in a position room in a while, so I spent a lot of time with them. And I would say over the last 2-3 weeks, is when you kind of really get to dive in and get to know them individually, different than when you're the coordinator. But Pat's done a great job, in a tough situation, I would say. But we got to be able to adjust and be flexible. I think Pat's done a good job, but also I think, guys like Harrison and guys like Bull have taken more of a leadership role within the room. So there's great dialogue, there's great conversations about players, scheme, play style, and they've been real helpful for guys like Jay Roy, and help him start to come along, which I think he's coming along as well. So I think they're all doing a nice job.
You and the other coaches have talked before about just how much you love coaching players who love the game of football. Jordan Hicks seems to be one of those guys. I'm wondering what you see from him just in how he approaches the game and how much fun he has. Obviously, he's been in the league for such a long time and still seems to have that.
Yeah, I mean, Hicks, I can't say enough good things about him. I think he brings leadership. He's got presence. He's really got command of the defense and an understanding of what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it. He's serious about the game. He's serious about, doing things correctly and doing things the right way. But he also has a great time playing football, which is, when you can combine all those things, being serious about it and, really locking in and trying to gain knowledge, gain understanding, and then apply it. But apply it while having a good time. That's really what you're looking for. That's what I like to see. That's what we as coaches like to see. Now he's a vet, and he's been in a few different systems. But at the end of the day, and I tell our players this: you got to have. You got to have peace. You got to have fun, to play at your top level. He certainly has that. And I think it's good for young players to see that. And he's done a good job with some of our younger players as far as trying to bring them along, and also understanding that it's hard. It's hard to play in this league. It's hard to come out here and practice and compete against the best athletes in the world, and a lot of times you lose. You lose games, you lose individually, you lose matchups, but you get up, you keep, you get better, you learn from it. So it's been a joy to coach him. It really has. Just keep coaching.
What were your thoughts seeing Joshua Dobbs escape some of the defense when it looked like he was about to be tackled? I mean, the 4th and 7 comes to mind because you're not really prepping for anything after that play, right? So maybe you were watching that one, you weren't busy getting ready to go back on the field.
I'm prepping for my 2 minute, because I'm always assuming we're going to make that play. But just watching it live was, I'm sure, it was credible to see. It really was. I think he did a phenomenal job, really, throughout the week, and then to go in there and play at that level, in that environment. I'm sitting there going, I know we have 5 cadences. Which one does he know them all? Yeah, it's hard. I'm still learning names of people in this building. So it wasn't a shock to hear that he didn't know them all. But I just think he did a great job, and stepped up in a big game. I'm happy we have him.
Brian, I think you mentioned it feels like it's been someone different every week making the play.
Yeah.
Just how much have you seen that confidence grow, or have you seen it grow across the defense over the past month?
I think you gain confidence with preparation. You gain confidence with repetition. So over between OTAs and minicamp and training camp, and now 9 games in, there's we've had a lot of reps, we've had a lot of communication, so there's confidence in, hey, we know what this call is, and really at this time of the year, there's some calls. We talked about this last couple weeks. There's some things that we're not going to coach we're not coaching anymore because it's there. So this blitz or this pressure, we're not really coaching them anymore. They know the ins and outs of it. We got to move on to some other things because, the teams in this league, and New Orleans is one of them, they present a lot of problems where, we need to be able to call that, whether it's on the sheet or not. I think our guys understand that. And with that comes confidence. But, in this league, with the players in this league, like Olave, like Mike Thomas, like Kamara, you certainly can't be overconfident. And we know that there's, tests and challenges every week, and we have to prepare a specific way. We've got to prepare a specific way, and then we got to execute, and that's really on a daily basis. And I think we know the formula, good meetings, good walkthrough, good practice. And we just got to, a lot of times at this point in the year, people start to wear down physically, they start to wear down mentally. And we got to push through all that so we can have a good walkthrough, good meetings, good meetings, good walkthrough, good practice. And if we do that, I think we'll remain confident, but then we also got to execute. So. Dane, appreciate the question.
Brian, following that up, how would you describe Taysom Hill as a football player and as a defensive play caller and talent evaluator? Where in the Saints offense do you think he's most valuable?
I think he's a very good football player. Obviously plays multiple positions, really very good runner, can throw it. Presents a lot of issues defensively. Is he in? What's he doing? Is he playing quarterback? Is he playing tight end? Is he playing running back? I'm still going through it. So, what grouping do we put in? Which, I think that's what they're trying to, the problems they're trying to create. And they create issues. So I think he's a fantastic player. And is a dynamic, or when I say dynamic, I mean a dynamic to their offense that is different than most, and also kind of makes you, with that, I'm sure they try to get you to spend so much time on this, which you have to, and then obviously there's only so much time, so you end up spending less time on some other things, and then they got some other guys that are a problem too, as I just mentioned, Kamara and Mike T and Olave, Jawan Johnson. I mean, they got a few players, some other rookie players as well. There was a second part to your question that I missed. Did I get it? Okay.
Yeah.
Brian, entering this season, there was a lot of talk and a lot of stereotypes about how this defense just didn't have a lot of talent, how you didn't have a lot to work with. After so many games, how talented is this group, and what have you noticed about them compared to teams in the past that you've coached?
I mean, I think it's a talented group. I think when people use the word talent, they're talking about really an individual, and this is a team game. So I think this is a talented group. I think we have players who win one-on-one matchups, who can communicate. But ultimately, it's about a group that can play as one, you know, and help one another in some situations where, you know, you guys need help. I think that's team defense. You know, I think if you want to get a guy like Kamara stopped and you just say, hey, it's, you know, Alec, I'm going to put you on him. Like, it's not what you want to do. So it's a team game. We've got talented guys, you know. I think there's some situations where we might have to do something like that. And we have guys who can, you know, we feel like, you know, can cover, you know, a guy like that. But within the scheme, you know, we may or may not do that. But yeah, I think it's a, you know, I love coaching this group. I'll tell you that right now. You know, they practice hard. They work their butts off. They're fun to coach. You know, I'm in there laughing every day. You know, you may not think that, but you know, there's a lot of jokes in our meetings. I like to think we have a good time. You can ask them. Feels like we do, and I think that's part of the formula. So yeah, I think we got a very good group.
Got a celebration coordinator, a STEM coordinator. Are there any other player coordinator jobs?
Well, we've got a, you know, I'm a big word association guy, but I can't come up with the words. So we've got a word or a name coordinator when we call things on the coaching staff. It's Lance Bennett. But you know, every once in a while, you know, some things come up and we need somebody to handle that. You know, somebody's got to be put in charge. So good. All right, thank you guys.